All right, I'm here with Cassia. We are going to jump into this NFT masterclass. Let me give you a bit of background. So basically, I have collected a heap of questions because I was super interested when crypto kind of hit the picture. It was so above my head. I just closed my ears and jumped the other way. But then as soon as I heard about NFTs and the potential for creatives, artists, business people, I was up, in the middle of the night taking notes, just like watching videos back to back. But the reason for this is I was like, I need to reach out to someone who's a blockchain obsessive, someone who loves their crypto. And, I've been following your stuff, Cassia. So let me give you the quick Insta, Twitter bio, and then I'll let you jump in and introduce yourself. So ex-mining student, ex-private equity, and currently Perth's #1 blockchain expert.
Wow.
No, Perth's blockchain obsessive. So yeah. I'll leave it at that bit. I'll happy for you to give your background in this area, Cassia.
Yeah, no, thanks for that intro. No, similar to you, I was immediately captivated by the blockchain space and went down the rabbit hole and basically just became obsessed. So but yeah, my background's in engineering and private equity. So I was a professional investor, you could say, for 6 years. And now I'm really getting into the blockchain space. I've just finished a blockchain, just a short blockchain course through RMIT, which was great to sort of tie together all of those, all of the self-learning. But yeah, I think you'll actually find most people in the crypto space are self-learners because the space has just moved so quickly that you can't really find that type of institutional education piece through any sort of universities. It's really something you've got to get out there and learn for yourself. So that's my background in it. And yeah, I've just been sharing what I can on my via my Instagram. And yeah, it's definitely something that's attracted a lot of attention and a lot of following. So it's really good to see.
Cool. And people can follow your Instagram. You want to shout out your Instagram handle?
Yeah, it's Cassia_Couture. So I'll trust you to put up the.
I'll chuck it up on the bottom.
I'll trust you to put up the spelling, not the easiest name. I get that.
That's all right. All right. And then do you want to let people know why you got into this? Why were you interested in crypto?
Yeah, look, so it started in a bit of a weird way, but it was actually my partner who was held a little Bitcoin and I ended up putting some into it. And I guess I just became really curious about why, how it actually worked and what the value was. I really wanted to know what I was buying. And this is after 6 years of working in private equity, where you do very thorough due diligence and look at the fundamentals of any business. So I couldn't quite understand how something intangible and digital was actually accruing so much value so rapidly. And it sort of led me on this journey of actually looking at basically how the whole economy works, how the monetary system works, how monetary policy works, and then from there understanding how that value is now shifting. And I think we are seeing some really fundamental shifts in the economy. So and it's something you really have to understand, I think, before you invest. So that's how I like to do it anyway. So it's just all part of the due diligence process for me.
Awesome.
And it's another language. That's the thing going into crypto. I'm sure,
definitely for me. I look into it. None of it makes sense to me. It's a language that I do not understand. It's I listen to podcasts and I'm like, I still don't get it. I'm more confused than I was before. But anyway, it's fascinating. So let me do a quick summary of NFTs, and you can jump in and correct me where you think I've gone wrong. But from my research, what they stand for is non-fungible tokens, which essentially means they are the digital version of a collectible item. So if you had, like a Mona Lisa painting, you've got the one original, it's worth a whole heap of money because you've got the original version of that painting done by the artist. Now, that has been impossible to replicate on a digital platform or like on the internet, because one person can go, hey, yeah, cool, screenshot, send it to the next person. It's no longer it's no longer unique. So what NFTs have done in the space is basically using, again, this is where you'll correct me because it'll be completely wrong, is the blockchain identifies who is one of the original owners of those limited number of collectibles assigned by the creative of how many collectibles they want to have of that particular item. And then that makes that digital product equally as rare as a physical product because you've got the original ownership of the collectible. Was that a good effort? Or was that horrible?
Yeah. No, I reckon that was a good effort, and I mean, it's definitely that was. And I have to be really careful about how much detail I go into because I can lose a lot of people very quickly. But scarcity is the definitely one of the components of an NFT. And if we look at like why it's called an NFT in terms of like what non-fungible actually means, most of the tokens in the crypto space are designed to be fungible, and what that means is so basically if you have $1 and I have $1 and we swap, we still each have $1. It's the same thing. It's swappable, it's exchangeable, all of that. So with non-fungible tokens, we're talking about tokens that are actually representative of things that can't be exchanged. So yes, different pieces, like art's definitely something that we're seeing come through in a big way in the NFT space, but then there's so many other applications for this. So for example, music ticketing is huge. We're seeing that we're seeing it looked at being used as a way to distribute tickets for different events or even fan tokens. So basically, each of these tokens are going to have different rights associated with them, whether it's different seating options or whether it's a fan token where, for example, you might have seen the Chili's token, which was released not long ago. But basically, it's Premier League soccer. You can buy this token. You can buy a fan token for the team you support, and it comes with rights to actual tangible items such as merchandise, meet and greets with fans, and then you can on-sell that token to someone else. So basically, like for that sort of application, the more following that team gets, the higher the value these tokens are going to be. So these are tradable
so it would be like a membership to, like, say we had like a cricket association here in the past was the West Australian Cricket Association. If you had membership, you could attend their games, and there was a limited number of memberships. So same sort of deal where, gotcha.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess the difference is that because these are now stored on a blockchain at any point in time, all of these tokens have unique identifiers, and people that are interacting with the blockchain also have their unique wallet addresses. So you can at any time verify who owns what token, and that's really the what's so revolutionary, because you can't actually. It really sort of makes these systems so secure against fraud, and then you see a lot of that in the ticketing space as well. And there's so many applications, obviously, in the art space too, in the creative space, in terms of being able to sell things, and then that resale process, being able to sort of verify that as and be part of that as an artist.
Yeah. And so you probably mostly answered this question, but is there anything that can be turned into an NFT? So NFT is essentially when they buy something, you're getting like a GIF or like an image or some short, like a very short video that you can upload. But then once you've purchased that having that token leads to other things. So you could essentially do anything, right? There's no limit to what an NFT can be sold as.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some crazy NFTs lately. Just, so there's like an artist. I don't know who the artist is, but it's basically a digital fortune cookie. Okay, go with me.
Right.
And then when you buy it, that only the person who buys it actually receives the fortune. I think there are other things that you can that come with it with the NFT purchase. But there's different platforms that you can mint an NFT on. So Mintable, for example, that's one of them. I know that you used Rarible.
Yep. So for some background, I put up like an NFT and use that to sell my comedy special that I did last year. And I was saying it's just been going gangbusters. I've had 0 sales up to this point. But basically what I did was I uploaded a small GIF onto, first you had to set up a crypto wallet, which I didn't have because I've never invested in any crypto. And then I had to figure out how do I, so sorry, that was one thing that I didn't understand, and this would be a good question, is can you only sell NFTs with a specific type of coin?
Sell NFTs? Yeah, I think it's well, most NFTs, all NFTs as far as I know, are actually on the Ethereum, operate on the Ethereum platform. So even if you are buying and selling NFTs using Aussie dollars or US dollars, you're actually still, it's probably happening in the background, but you actually are still buying and selling using Ethereum.
Because I had to buy Ethereum, put that in there. Yeah.
Is that how you did it?
Yeah, so I had to transfer money from obviously Australian dollars to buy Ethereum, then put Ethereum into a wallet, which I used Rainbow, and then used that wallet to connect to another thing that then allowed me to upload a GIF into Rarible, and then you can set how many collectible editions you have, and I had 1,000. Then you set your price, and then that's it. Then it's linked, and every time someone buys one, it sends you like a notification. But yeah, that was the process for me.
Yeah, I mean, so you can mint video, pictures, audio, books, basically anything that's digital can be minted and sold. I think the challenge right now is actually finding the right platform, because even though this technology is offering some really amazing things for artists in terms of not having to go through an intermediary to release their work, and also some of the new tech's actually offering royalties on so basically, and it's always been the problem for intellectual property. Once you sell it once, you really don't get any part of the resale. So there's some great tech that's coming out where these non-fungible tokens are actually programmed to continue releasing commission from the resale. So you sell it the first time, and then you will continue to get 8% commission every sale, because I guess the tragic thing is in the creative space is that, well, first of all, a lot of artists are now not really receiving that much commission when they go through platforms like Spotify or iTunes. But then there's also the fact that once they sell their music or sell their piece of art, they get that first price, and then what happens after that, they don't get any share in. So I think NFTs are going to be a way to solve that problem, and that's huge.
Yep. Even when I posted it, they give you the option of selecting how much you want for royalties. You can select essentially anything you want. Then if it's sold to someone down the track, you still get that royalty. Yeah, which is really cool. So someone's estate that becomes valuable, say when they pass, it can still be passed on to someone, and they collect royalties every time it's sold. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But how does someone? So let's say if I wanted to find, hey, what does Cassia own in terms of NFTs? How would I even? Can someone else find out what someone else owns?
Yeah, I think there's a way to. I think some of these platforms actually allow you to have like an open digital wallet. Like most people don't have an open digital wallet, but I think it depends on what platform you're using. Yeah, because like what's in your wallet is such a, I guess it's such a private thing, because you can see how much Bitcoin someone holding, or but I know there's a way to do it, and I know Mark Cuban has an open wallet, so you can see what he's investing in, but I don't know what platform that's on. but yeah, it's definitely something you can do.
Right. But then how do you then verify someone's the original owner? It's just in your wallet, and when you sell it, you're the only one that's, again, I don't understand. How would you know that you're the person that's purchased that item and nobody else?
Yeah, so that's when you actually have to get. So first of all, I mean, when you first make the purchase, you know that piece of digital art's going to have its own unique identifier, and that identifier is going to be on a blockchain, on a distributed ledger somewhere. So I don't find that it's not something that's completely user friendly at the moment. I haven't actually gone through the process of verifying and then looking up in a distributed ledger where different items sit. And I think that's actually going to be part of why some platforms make it over others, because the market is absolutely flooding with platforms at the moment for the buying and selling of NFTs. But it's going to be the platforms that actually are user friendly, that create some sort of community as well, and make things like verification easy to access for people who aren't into coding, for example, and aren't completely obsessed with cryptocurrency. It needs to be accessible for everyday people, and that's like part of like how I invest in crypto as well. Like I look for the things that are actually going to be easy to use and are going to make a big difference to how we interact with each other.
Gotcha. Because I can imagine like the value of knowing what other people own. Say if you look up to someone like Mark Cuban, or you have some artist or creative that you follow and they've purchased XYZ NFT. I think that would be, you would probably lean towards going, hey, I really like what this person's vibe or interest is. I want to follow suit. You would then go, cool, I can check on some ledger which is open for everyone and go, hey, I want to buy the same thing. So, and also as a NFT is essentially a flex because you've got that collectible item, right? So how do you purchase it and then show people, hey, I've actually got this thing? Otherwise there's really no value, because you're investing in the scarcity because you like that look, that product, that artist, or whatever it is. I'm assuming people want to be able to showcase it.
Yeah, so in terms of where you would display an NFT, there's a few options, and it depends on how sort of into the space you are. But there are new options coming out around actually having your NFTs framed. So say that you are talking about a piece of digital artwork, you can actually buy frames now to display them, and these frames basically connect to your wallet, and you can sort of like program them to sort of shuffle through the NFTs that you've bought. You can also display them in places like virtual worlds, like a Decentraland. These are, and talk about virtual worlds, these are becoming increasingly popular in terms of like people are holding conferences there. We're seeing the growth in the virtual reality space. So you can basically put on your VR goggles, take a trip into Decentraland, and go to a conference being held by someone, or go into someone's shop, for example, a virtual shop where you can walk through. You can purchase pieces of digital art that are hanging on the wall in the shop. They could be playing an NFT in the shop in terms of like a music or anything digital can be in that world, in the virtual world. And that's a space that's growing. Something crazy that I've come across is, and this is somewhere where I think NFTs are really going to take off, and that's in the esports space. So there's already a lot of money being spent in terms of a game like, what's that game called where they drop in from the helicopter? Can't think of it.
Helicopter. Oh.
Yeah, it's like a
parachuting. I didn't.
No, it's like the really big one, Fortnite. Yeah, Fortnite.
Oh, no, I've never played it. So I didn't know the reference. No, I've never played it.
I have played it, but it's in terms of like buying like outfits and buying, I know they're not called outfits, but buying like the different sort of clothing and different weaponry, and sometimes this stuff doesn't actually have any doesn't make any functional difference to your performance as a player, but people are spending real money on.
But in that world, it's like a cool thing now. I've got this whatever item, I'm wearing this shirt. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
And to be honest, this isn't very different from what we do in the real world. Like, why do people buy Louis Vuitton over another brand? And it's all about narrative, and it's all about the same things that are now existing in these sort of video games and this virtual world. So in the NFT space, if you purchase these, and this is already happening, if you purchase these sorts of NFT tokens, which might represent something that you're wearing, or some sort of superpower, or some sort of weapon, instead of having that NFT or whatever you've purchased stop existing if the video game basically goes under, if Fortnite goes bust one day, using the old model, you wouldn't be able to retain things that you'd bought. But if you have those NFTs stored on the blockchain, you can actually make them transferable to different games. That's huge.
Gotcha.
So you could take the NFTs that you bought and basically move them to a completely different game, and potentially into a virtual world, rather than being sort of just confined to a video game. And to take it a step further, some of these NFTs can be seen, for example, just in the using virtual reality goggles. So it's something that's just got so many applications. And yeah, I mean, whether it's esports, music, art, ticketing, I think this is going to be a huge industry over the next sort of 5 to 20 years.
Yep.
It's just a matter of picking which ones are going to actually survive. Because at the moment, there's a lot flooding in, and sort of
everything's inflated. You go in, everyone's just buying all kinds of random stuff, which is probably just going to crash like anything that's got the initial hype. As a very self-motivated question, so like I do stand-up comedy as a hobby. So let's say if there was someone doing stand-up, like what could be potential ideas that, I don't know, that you think that they should start exploring NFTs? Okay, so maybe that's a really vague question. But let's say, for example, if you've got a following, you're a popular comedian, it's a very different thing. You could just sell limited edition images of a shot from a particular gig that you did. But for someone that's new and doesn't have that influencer title, or like a huge following, do you have some ideas or things that they could think about? How do you kind of look into this space?
Yeah, look, I think this space is still going to suffer from the same things that the old sort of media space has suffered from, which is it's not always the best quality that is the most popular or the most successful. It's the artists, or it's the creatives that actually get the most hype, have the most following, and use their platforms really well. So I think it's still a matter of actually getting your platforms established, and before reaching that point where you want to release an NFT.
So and I think prematurely is what you're saying.
I wasn't being specific. Just talking.
No, I'm just pulling your leg.
Yeah.
No, I you know what I mean. Before I even ask the questions. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, if you've got a base, at least you can leverage that. Like I've seen people like Logan Paul, who's a big YouTuber, released his face on a Pokemon card, and within hours, I think it was millions of dollars worth of sales. Beeple, which I'm sure his name's synonymous now with NFT, because he's been doing art on Instagram, and 70 million, I don't know, millions and millions of dollars because they have a base. But I'm thinking, how does someone that doesn't have any sort of influence, I guess that's like anything, you've got to develop your following, be creative, maybe do something that's NFT from a limited one sale NFT, maybe sequentially grow from there. Maybe you do small. The problem is, like, even if you release a single NFT for a very small amount of money, the fees at the moment, well, unless I did it wrong, the fees are so high to even post list an NFT on Rarible or one of these platforms. I think it cost me about 80 Australian dollars just to list it, right? Is there, I mean, is that just now, or is that going to change? How does that even work?
Yeah, that's something that any sort of transaction on the Ethereum platform currently is experiencing high gas fees, which is basically something that happens when there's a high level of transaction flow across the platform. So that's something that Ethereum's trying to solve, and yeah, it's a scalability issue. But I think with Ethereum 2.0, I don't know when exactly that's going to be released, but that's something that they're actively trying to solve, because some of these gas fees have been exorbitant lately. So, but you can sort of time, you can time when you transact. There are some sort of like peaks and troughs in the amount of transactions going through. So
how would you know that for someone that doesn't have much experience? How would you know when's a good time to list?
Look, for me, I only know that because I'm always transacting, and it's like, I think it's so much of this market's in the US, and there is like a huge Asian market as well. So sort of trying to time it for when those markets are less active. I think we sort of come to the conclusion that it was sort of just before the US market wakes up, there seemed to be like a bit of a lull in how much you actually have to pay in Ethereum fees. But in my mind, if you're using the platform, and you're either using it to make an investment or to put something up, then the gas fees are okay. Like, that's how I justify it. I'd spend $80 on going out to dinner. So if I'm gonna buy some some shares and put some money into a decent investment, then I'll spend the $80. So there have been nights where I've spent $400 or something just on Ethereum gas fees. I mean, if I believe in the underlying thing that I'm doing, then I'm like, okay, it's an investment as well.
Yeah. Have you purchased any NFTs yourself?
I'm still in the research stage. I know people that my partner's invested in like a couple of things. We were looking at one called Avagotchi. Okay. I mean, there's some really crazy stuff out there. And these are they're very similar to sort of digital Tamagotchis. I know. It's your face.
Back to our high school days.
Yeah, like, and I didn't even have a Tamagotchi in high school. So, I mean, there's different things for everyone. Like, I know Kings of Leon have just released their album as an NFT. They did it on Spotify and all the regular platforms, but they've also released it through a platform called Yellow Heart. And this is an album where you can actually buy the album and then buy, or it comes basically with like tickets to all of their concerts forever.
Gotcha. So it's got to have some sort of tangible offline value, because then that incentivizes people to buy it. Gotcha.
Yeah, and there's so many. Every NFT is going to have a completely different value proposition. Whether there's always some utility attached to it, and so if anyone, if you're looking to buy, or anyone listening is looking to buy, like, it's really something that you need to get across. What's the underlying utility of the NFT that you're purchasing? Is it purely for display purposes, purely because you like the art, or is there some other sort of value there? Like with the ticketing example, am I getting access to certain merchandise or other sorts of things that other people aren't getting? So looking into that utility is really key, I think, to investing here, and especially, and that goes across the cryptocurrency space. There's always utility with every underlying technology. So yeah, I mean, you can either invest purely on what people are saying on Twitter, which does go all right for some people. I mean, it's hugely swayed by the space is hugely swayed by the different narratives. And that's probably something that separates it from, not completely, but does separate it a little bit from the stock market, the regular stock market, which is also swayed heavily by narrative. But the crypto space really is. So, and the NFT space is all about hype and
because it's not a liquid asset in any way. You're basically buying the narrative and a story that you believe is going to be valuable in the long term, which is like any collectible. Like that's no different to any collectible that people buy, like a wine that was originally released in 1960s. You can't drink that, but because it's there and it's a rare release of maybe whatever X number of bottles, that story itself adds value and you can resell it down the track. So
100%. I mean, picking out when it's such a new space, picking out which ones are actually going to turn into collectibles, that's a difficult thing to form a view on. I mean, I wouldn't have picked that sneakers, for example, were going to take off in such a huge way. The sneaker market. I never quite got my head around that. But and there's going to be that sort of stuff, that sort of collectible culture in the digital art space as well, because so much of the things we consume now are digital. And if you want the originals, this is now something that you can do, and this is a way for artists to sell it directly to us instead of being limited by a record company or
distribution platforms.
Exactly. So seeing a lot of those intermediaries being replaced by decentralized tech. So it's huge.
Yep. All right. I think his final question, I'm trying to think of it as from a business's perspective, less from a creative's perspective. I think we've probably covered that. Unless I've missed something, let me know. We can chat about it. But I think from a business's perspective, there must be so many opportunities now for platforms that you can create that facilitate NFT transactions, not just in terms of purchasing and listing like OpenSea, Rarible, and a few of those, but like you said, for displaying NFTs, for having, the ability to have like the YouTube version of NFTs. I was thinking maybe there's going to be a platform that just sells video collectibles, or so basically what I'm trying to brainstorm is there's got to be opportunities where businesses can also look into what could be the base platforms, the Amazons, the eBays, and whatever, that's the ones that revolutionize the internet. There's going to be those opportunities for NFTs as well, right, from a business perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree, like 100%. Currently I think what we're seeing is those auction platforms, just for the simple buying and selling. But we're also seeing the rise of NFTs in the DeFi space. So I don't know if you're across decentralized finance, but that's 2020 it was dominated by decentralized finance, and it continues to be a massive theme in cryptocurrency. But it's basically going to facilitate people not having to go to a bank to get a loan. Imagine just going onto accessing a platform as a personal banking platform where you could get a loan in a few minutes, and it's through peer-to-peer type lending, and we're seeing that sort of thing now coming across into the NFT space as well. So if you can deposit your NFTs and borrow against it, that type of thing. So it's
so it becomes asset financing against your NFTs, essentially.
Exactly.
Wow, that's next level. Yep.
Yeah. So there are a lot of really like revolutionary things happening in this space, and it's moving so fast. I mean, we're really at the beginning, I think, of a completely different creative industry through NFTs. And I don't think there are going to be many industries that are untouched by the decentralized tech space. So there's a lot of opportunity for business. I think it starts with like understanding what's currently there, and then how you can build on that. But yeah,
I mean, I'm even thinking from our own businesses, there's got to be some method we could use NFTs for special clients that can have, you know, some sort of utility that they don't have access to without having that limited collectible edition that NFT provides. You can basically say, hey, for the next 10 people, you could have access to whatever, like I'm just throwing ideas out there, but you could have access to having an exclusive service agreement or exclusive you know, add on to your existing contract because you purchased an NFT with our business. So even just for like client services businesses, there's ideas. If you know, think hard enough what a client may want. Also the fact that they can have a premium version of your business by owning you know, a set quantity of some, you know, exclusive access that they can have to your business, or as a consultancy, like you could have additional access to the consultant, like that you don't get if you purchase this NFT, then you can, you know, have 24-hour access. I don't know, you know, like things like that for a very structured business. You could do an on-sell which could add value to your business, but then also at the same time could be a lead generation for the business itself. So yeah, I think that's an amazing way to think about it. I think if I was to try and sort of simplify it, I would say that anything that contains some sort of intellectual property can be sold as could be sold potentially as an NFT. Because, you know, whether that's a patent, for example, if you have any patents or any sort of proprietary tech that you want to perhaps give to your customers, when they on-sell it, that could be something that you could then get. You could actually continue to receive commissions from, for example. But yeah, there are a lot of use cases, and yeah, I don't think it's just in the. It's definitely not just in the creative space. It's in any space where you've got some sort of digital intellectual property. You know, I was watching a podcast, listening to a podcast the other day, and they're talking about textbooks, like uni textbooks, for example. So is this something you buy once, and then generally there's like a pretty big resale market because no one holds on to their textbooks, right? So publishers don't actually get any cash out of that or any return from the resale. So there's no reason to actually continue printing textbooks if you could release your textbooks as NFTs. So not all NFTs have to be collectibles. You can release, if you want your NFT to be a collectible, you release one, or you release a limited amount. You mint a limited amount. If you can release as many as you want, really, or you could, there's no the demand supply dynamics. That's something that I think. If businesses do want to start doing their own NFTs, I think that's something that they really have to contemplate. Do you just want to have one, or do you want and have it as a collectible, or do you want to release, say, a limited edition of 50 and then get the resale value as they continue to be distributed? But yeah, either way, like it's that amount of getting to have that sort of return throughout the life of that asset. That's something that that's new, I think, in that space prior. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Cassie. I think that was it was pretty valuable. I've learned a few things I didn't know prior, so got me some ideas that I need to start thinking about.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, it's always it's just like, it's one of those spaces where the more you learn, the sort of more disconnected you become from people who aren't in the crypto community. So sort of like explaining it, that's definitely something I need to start practicing and doing better. So I hope there was
that was pretty layman for me, and I don't know much about crypto, so yeah, it all kind of made sense. So no, it's
okay.
It's good, and there's plenty of potential, plenty of ideas that I need to start just kind of brainstorming and just seeing where it goes. So super excited, and thank you heaps for your time.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so an idea that I had that we were just discussing offline, we thought it'd be worth recording is this is what happens. You end the call and you come up with better ideas. So with nightclubs, we were thinking, so Cassie and I had an idea, like what if you had a token and a limited number edition of NFT that gave you access to all the clubs in Perth, for example, and maybe there was 50 of them. And they give you access to our club, they give you access to XYZ club, and potentially you just partner with all of them and say, hey, anyone that has this token, maybe you get a clip of royalty, whatever, every time they use it. And then that person moves away for a while, and you had a good idea that you can add on to that, Cassia?
Yeah. So it's basically like, it's a token. So this actually came up because we were talking about the Chili's token. So Chili's is the token that they've released as a fan token for, I think it's Premier League soccer. Comes with all sorts of different cool stuff that you can do if you hold the token. One of the things is that they release the tokens in different places around the city, just like how Pokemon did when people used to run around with their phones collecting Pokemon. So you can actually go around and collect these fan tokens, and they all have different rights. So if we were doing something like that in the city, you could release a token for Perth. You do like an airdrop. That's something that I know is being done currently, where they basically do an airdrop at some sort of like shop or some sort of public place. People swarm in, pick up the tokens, and it's something that you can actually take, and it has utility. So it'll be like a QR code or something that you display at the door of this club. Get your, either gets you drinks or entry or whatever that sort of utility is going to be. But buying the token, is actually taking a position on whether you think Perth or whatever city you're in is actually going to grow. If you think it's going to be a popular city and attract a lot of people, then it's a token you're probably going to want to hold, because it's going to give you all sorts of cool
access to a lot of
access. It's going to come with a whole heap of stuff that the average person isn't going to have, like VIP access or whatever that's going to be. So like so many uses. I reckon that's a great use in terms of building any sort of business in the hospitality sector could release these sorts of NFTs with whatever utility they want.